Hello, everybody. Good morning. How are you guys doing today? My name is Jason Krutzky. It is a pleasure to be with you all again this morning. This is the third time this week that I've had the opportunity to go live and kick it with you guys. I hope that you guys are doing well. What's up, Jeremy? How are you doing today, sir? Where are you tuning in from? It's good to see some folks in the chat bright and early today. This is a little bit earlier than we usually do these lives, but we've got PCE data coming out this morning, and so we always try to go live for important data announcements. Now, yesterday we had some important data announcements that we were not live for, but let's talk about kind of everything that we've got, or everything that we had this week. No way, Jeremy, you're in Boulder? Get out of here. I'm in Boulder as well. That's super cool. We should kick it sometime. Do you ever go to the trader meetups that Sean McLaughlin hosts here in town? He does them every other week. He does one in Denver every other week, and then he does one in Boulder. So he does 2 a month. If you ever go to those things, you should let me know. If you don't know that those things happen, I can get you a link to the meetup email so you can join us. I don't go every time, but I do try to go as often as possible. Cool. It's good to have another trader friend in town. I'm sure that there are more of us, but there are not that many. That's for sure. So, oh, Jeremy, you're friends with Chris. I'm friends with Chris. Cool. Right on. Are we talking later about the strategy tester? You know, actually, if I kind of think that might be the case. Hold on one second before we get into this. Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. Jeremy, let's talk about the strategy tester. Well, we'll talk about PCE first because that's what we're here for. But after that, or really just after an intro here, let's talk about the strategy tester. Ask me any questions you have about it, because I'm pretty sure that's why you're here. All right, so PCE, also known as personal consumption, or PCE stands for personal consumption expenditures. This is why we're here today. It's also known as consumer spending. It's a measure of the spending on goods and services by the people in the United States. PCE accounts for 2/3 of domestic spending and, of course, is a significant driver of GDP. Now, yesterday, we got the GDP number. It was not all that good. 1.1% growth versus the estimated 1.9% growth. So coming in about half where they were, where folks were speculating it would come in. So reduction in growth, right, of the economy. We got Q1 PCE numbers yesterday, and those came in hotter than expected, 4.9%, an increase of 0.5% from Q4, which was at 4.4, and above the estimate of 4.7. So inflation hotter than expected, and GDP lower than expected, growth lower than expected. Being that this is one of the main numbers, PCE, that the Fed is looking at to gauge how they're doing at taming inflation, a rise in PCE is not really what they want to see. Remember, their goal is 2%. We're 4.9. So a ways to go. We got jobless claims numbers yesterday. Those came in lower than expected, 230,000 jobless claims versus the expected 246,000. We were on a space yesterday. I was talking with Rahul and a really good group, smart group of folks. I don't know if you guys tuned into that. If you didn't, I can get you a link so that you can run it back. And people were kind of surprised by that with all of the job cuts and layoffs in tech and things. And, you know, one of my thoughts was that maybe severance packages are keeping that number lower than you would think. I don't know. I'd be curious to know what your thoughts are on that, if you have thoughts. So where do we stand right now at the end of the day? We have GDP came in cooler than expected. We have PCE came in hotter than expected. You got jobless claims numbers came in lower than expected. What does it mean? Well, all of that I think, means that it gives more ground for the Fed to stand on to continue raising rates. Whether or not they will, we don't know. We've got an FOMC meeting next Wednesday, I believe, the 3rd, the 4th. What's up, TH? Good morning. So we're going to find out a lot more next week, but these numbers are all just kind of prepping us for what's to come. And today we get the PCE numbers for March. That's going to be here in about 25 minutes. So we'll be keeping our eye on the market's reaction to that. I've got Amazon up here. I just wanted to kind of see what was going on with it this morning. I never heard what happened on their earnings call, but clearly something happens on their earnings call. Somebody did not like something that was said, but I did not catch what was said. If you guys know, I'd be curious to know. What's up, Alex? Good to see you from Austin. How is Austin looking today? And TH, where are you tuning in from? So, Jeremy, I'm curious. I was trying to ask Chris yesterday what exactly he was trying to test. And he was being elusive about the types of things that he was trying to test. And I wonder if maybe you might be able to give me some ideas of the types of things that he was looking to utilize the strategy tester for. Because there are some limitations, you know, there are some things that you cannot do in it. And I want to make sure that we're going to be able to do everything that he's looking to do. Canada, Ontario. Is it cold up there still? I have to assume it's cold up there. It's cold here in Boulder. We've had a couple of like warm days. But last night, I mean, some weather came in. It went from like 60 to 30 like in a snap. We get these crazy swings here. You know, another thing I want to do while we're here, y'all let me know between now and half past, let me know if there are any particular tickers that you want to watch as we get these results. I don't know how today's going to turn out. I mean, it's a Friday. We kind of know, I feel like we kind of know what to expect, you know, like the numbers that came in yesterday were all kind of counter to what anybody who was maybe looking for a Fed pivot or anything like that, they kind of were running counter to that expectation, right? They did not suggest that the Fed's going to change their policy this time around. So how will today's number affect things? I don't know. And how will the market react? Even more importantly, if the expectation is that these numbers might come in hotter than expected, I don't know. The market seemed to kind of shrug off yesterday. Actually, let's take a look. Sometimes when you're watching the small time frames, you kind of lose the forest from the trees, right? You kind of don't realize, or you kind of forget where you're at. But I mean, yesterday the market shrugged off everything that happened yesterday for the most part. Huge day on the indices, coming right into the those April highs and getting rejected. Such a big level, this like 414, 415 spot on SPY here. QQQ, I have to assume, looks pretty much the exact same. Yeah, QQQ actually made a new relative high that actually took all of the highs out from this whole consolidation period, or distribution, accumulation, whatever you want to call this. We don't know exactly what it is just yet. But a huge day on the Qs yesterday. How did IWM do? Let me remove all this stuff. IWM, not a terrible day either, coming into those lows, the March lows. Taking out the previous day's high and low, so big engulfing day. It's starting to warm up, TH. That's good. Glad to hear that. Winters are beautiful. We love them. But it's time. It's time for spring. I'm ready for the cold weather to be over. So, Jeremy, are you around still? If you're around, let's talk strategy testing for a few minutes. So first thing you need to know, obviously, you need to know how to turn it on. Strategy tester button up here. It's going to load at the bottom of your screen. You've got your entry side. You've got your exit side. On your entry side, you need to obviously script parameters for your entry. You need to come up with reasons. Okay, sweet. You need to come up with reasons for why you're getting into and out of trades. These can be lots of different things. So you would click condition, and then here are the options that you can utilize in the strategy tester. You can test price conditions, indicator conditions, all good. Candlestick pattern conditions, earnings dates, dividend dates, split dates, analyst estimates. So let's just take this super top level, right? Let's talk like some basic price conditions, some basic indicator conditions, that sort of thing. So like, let's just say one of your conditions is RSI above 50. You need RSI to be above 50 to get you into the trade, right? So say indicator, type in RSI greater than a constant value of 50, right? Maybe you need multiple days of higher highs. Maybe you need today's high being greater than yesterday's being greater than the day before's. I don't know. I'm just, like I said, I'm just throwing out random things here just so kind of you can get a sense for the environment. But yeah, let's define that. Today's high greater than yesterday's. So you would say price high greater than price high. And next to each little condition here, you have this last function, and this last function allows you to define the candle that you're referring to. So if you wanted to define the current candle high greater than the previous, you would leave this one as last, because last is the same thing as 0 candles or the current candle. And then you would change this one to last, or rather you would change this one to 1 candle ago, sorry. Right, if you need multiples, you could do this again. You could say price high greater than price high, and then you change this to 1, change this to 2, right? So you've got the current candle high is greater than the previous candle high greater than the one before it. Let's say you want to have a, some sort of moving average cross. You would use indicator again. We'll just use a simple moving average. And notice you have all of these definers. You could say it's equal to something, greater than or equal, within range of increase, decrease, crossed, crossed up, crossed down. Prices touched it, bounced off it, broke through it, right? So we would say, in this case, if you were looking for some sort of moving average cross, you'd say crossed up. On indicator, we'll say simple moving average. And then you can come in here and change the length. So let's say like, I don't know, 821. And let's say this is our entry, right? I'm going to use a smaller time frame for it. We'll just say the 15-minute. We need to define our exit criteria. You have a little bit more flexibility on the exit side. Excuse me. You can add a script similar to what we've done here, where we've created a list of conditions. You could choose an entry invalidated, where you're saying that none of the entry conditions are true anymore. You could choose to exit after a certain number of candles have passed. This is kind of just, I'd like to utilize this to test like things like earnings dates. How does a stock perform 10 days post earnings? I'll use something like number of candles have passed. It's a pretty arbitrary number, which is why I use an arbitrary entry. If I'm using a very specific entry, it's going to be very rare that I'm going to use a number of candles have passed option. You can use a take profit. You can use a stop loss, a trail stop. These are all percentage values. And then you can define whether you want it to exit essentially the second that the percentage value is hit or after the candle closes with that percentage value hit. It's up to you what you want to do there. And then, of course, you can have multiple exits, right? And you can even have multiple different things that define your entry too. This set of parameters, we would call this a script, right? And so what I would want to do if I wanted to add multiple reasons for an entry, I would need multiple scripts, and I would have to define them different ways. So one thing that you can do on the platform is you can take these scripts and you can save them as such. You can save them as a script. It's written out in the strategy tester. I could save this as a strategy if I wanted to, or I can save the individual components as a script. So I'm going to do that real quick. So I'm just going to save it. And we'll just call this, I don't know, Jeremy, right? And say save. And let's say that I wanted to have multiple different reasons to get into a trade. So what I can do is if I go to add parameter here and I say condition group, I can go and I can load the Jeremy script, right? And let's say I wanted to have another one. I don't know, maybe a candlestick pattern. I'm just picking a random thing, right? Let's say that these two options are reasons to get into a trade. I either want to get into a trade when this set of conditions are true, or I want to get into a trade when this is true. I could come up here to this definer and I could say any of the following, and then I'll get in either when this is true or when this is true. And you can extrapolate that in a number of different ways, right? You can use all of the following, you can use none of the following, so you can ultimately have multiple things on your entry side that define your entry, and multiple things on the exit side that define your exit. And if I'm moving too fast, just let me know. If this is all making sense to you, let me know. Hopefully it's making sense, but we can go over, in more detail. I think that you and I and Chris are supposed to hop on a call later on today. If this answers your questions, perfect. If it doesn't, I'm happy to jump on a call with you guys later. So we've got an entry defined. Let me just set up a very quick exit. We'll just get out on, I don't know, something silly. I'll just pick the cross down of the same cross up, but the cross down. Change this to 821. So we've got our time frame defined. We need to define if we want to utilize extended hours in that data or not. It's up to you on that. There isn't a right or a wrong way. It's really up to you. I tend not to use extended hours just because I tend not to trade them. I know Chris loves to stare at his futures data while we're on hikes in the evening. So he might be interested in using after hours data. And then you could test back. I believe there are some, there are 3 tiers to the platform, or 3 plans that you can choose from. And I believe the cheapest plan does not offer access to the strategy tester. The second cheapest plan might get you 7,000 candles. The third might get you 10,000 candles back. So you could test back, depending on the level of plan you have, you could test back up to 10,000 candles on any time frame. Trade by next. What trade by next means is essentially your conditions for your entry are, they're all 15-minute here in this case. Your conditions are not true until the candle closes. But once the candle closes, you can't take a trade on that candle, right? Because it's closed. So trade by next simply just means that the candle upon which the conditions were met has closed, and we are trading on the open. In this case, trade by the next open. We're trading on the open of the candle that follows the candle in which the conditions were met, right? And you could choose to enter on the open, the high, the low, the close, or an average of some of those values. So HL2 would be the high plus the low divided by 2. That's of the next candle. Open, close, open plus close divided by 2, and so on. To me, kind of what makes the most sense is buying on the open of the next candle, especially if you're going to be utilizing this, if you're going to be utilizing trading bots, right? Like if you're going to turn this into a strategy that actually sends a signal out to your broker and buys or sells when these conditions are hit, it makes a lot of sense to use an open value. You do have to pick a direction. You cannot say if this, then long, if that, then short. You can have multiple bots running and multiple alerts triggering for different setups, long, short, but you cannot have a long and a short setup in the same individual test that you're running. It's directional. So you have to pick long, short, and then say run. And it's going to run the test for you on the name that you have up on your chart. It's going to print your entries and exits on the chart as well. You get a lot of data back. You've got a price behavior explorer. This, we could probably spend like an hour just talking about this. We may want to do that because this may be interesting to you. Essentially, you can kind of see the progression of trades. You can see how your average winners tend to draw down before they regain and become winners. You can see how your average losers tend to gain before they become losers. You can see the distribution of both. You can kind of compare one to the other. One thing that we like to look at is the min-max change for winners and losers. So those are the two clouds that I have up. So this is kind of min-max change for your winners in green there, and min-max change for your losers in red. And we like to look at where they overlap, specifically where the winners draw down before becoming profitable. One theory is coming in and setting stops kind of below that level, because if a winner, you want to give your winners room to run. You want to cut your losers before they become bigger drawdowns. So that's one way of theorizing how you should be setting your stop losses, is utilizing the min-max change for winners and losers here in the Price Behavior Explorer. On the right-hand side, we have this tabular data. Lots of information in the tabular data, but the thing to really keep an eye on are the no-go highlighting. So whenever you have red highlighting over a value, what essentially that means is that value, there's something fundamentally wrong about that value that you want to repair before turning this strategy into a proper strategy that you're actually trading regularly, or that you're trading when it hits. The no-go highlighting just alerts you to, hey, over the long term, this strategy is not going to work for you. So one rule, or one thing you should be thinking about doing when you're utilizing a strategy tester is to remove all of the no-go highlighting. Sometimes that no-go highlighting is going to be there because of the relationship between your average return and your average win rate, right? Like in order to get in order for a strategy to be profitable, these values all have to jive with one another. And so you want to keep an eye on that. If you have a watch list of names, let's just say, I'm going to just throw a watch list here. You can test a strategy. You can just click through a watch list of names, and that strategy is going to test on those names. So once you have a strategy developed, you can very quickly click through different tickers and determine, of those tickers, this is the best one of the bunch. This one performs the best on that strategy. So here you go. Here's one that has no-go highlighting for this particular strategy. And you'll notice that whenever you're in a trade, so we're in a trade right now on this, it's going to plot out for you essentially that min-max change, right? It's going to plot out the expected direction of price over the duration of time that this trade tends to last. So it's taking all the historical data and then plotting that in clouds, moving it forward on the chart. So it's giving you an idea of where price is expected to go based on all of the historical data. So kind of a cool little feature there to see that. And then just kind of like a broad overview, this performance chart, you've got your performance of the strategy. So here's your strategy. This is the performance of the strategy over the duration of time that it's been active. This is the asset relative to the strategy. These are the positions. These are your positions filtered on the asset, right? So you could see kind of the green areas are when you're in a winning trade. When a green area starts, that's where you get in. When a green area stops, that's when you get out. Of course, the red areas are your losing trades, getting in and out. So this particular strategy is kind of capturing, it looks like, it captures these kind of big pushes, which is kind of interesting to see. And then what else? You can, like I said, you can launch this as a trading bot. And so like once you find a strategy that you feel like works, that you want to utilize, you can launch it as a bot. You can just utilize notifications, right? And you can have the platform essentially be keeping an eye for you on when these conditions are met on this name. You can get alerts to your phone, to your email saying, hey, those conditions are being met. You should do something about it. Or you can use webhooks. And so you can connect to an order routing service. We have one. It's called Signal Stack. Ooh, this might be a second. Hold on. Oh, okay. Yeah. So for example, I can grab a webhook here. I can input my webhooks, right? And I can define what I want to define, create a bot, and then the bot will automatically be buying and selling on this particular name, on these conditions being met for me. Like I won't have to do the manual execution, the buying and selling. So pretty helpful little tool there if you want to be kind of hands-free and not discretionary, right? I mean, the biggest to me, the biggest advantage of utilizing a trading bot would be keeping yourself out of the trade, keeping your manual self out of it. You know, you get into a trade. How many times have you gotten into a trade and the second you're in profit, you're like, I got to get out, or you let it draw down against you more than your mental stops or what have you. So trading bots are going to control all that emotional stuff. Let the strategy work how it's supposed to work. As long as your tabular data, as long as you're not having any no-go, excuse me, as long as you don't have any no-go highlighting on your tabular data, that means that you have a relatively safer strategy. Doesn't mean it can't draw down against you. You know, it doesn't mean it can't break the rules of your entry and exit. There are things that happen. For example, gap downs because of overnight news, right? There are things that are uncontrollable. You'll find those things in the max drawdown. So if your max drawdown is, your max drawdown can be more than what you have predefined if you have a stop loss set, depending on when that drawdown occurs. Sometimes like an earnings result or something like that. You can utilize earnings though, right? Like if you wanted to stay out of a trade, if you want to stay out of a trade X number of days before earnings, you can script that, right? You could say something like earnings date within the next 5 days. And that would be another reason to get you out of a trade, right? Even if your trade is working, you're still in the position, your other exit criteria hasn't been met yet, but earnings within the next 5 days could be a reason to get you out. So there's something there if you want to utilize that. One piece or a couple of pieces. Well, hold on. Actually, we got 3 minutes before the announcement. I'm going to jump over to multi-symbol view here. What do you guys want to keep an eye on? Anything in particular? Because we want to watch this thing while it happens. Like I said, I don't know what the reaction here is going to be. I don't have any sort of expectation personally. Oops, add. There we go. Okay. I'm going to put a few things up that I assume you guys are going to want to watch. If you have tickers that you want to watch into this announcement, do let me know. Yep, we got QQQ up. I got IWM up. I'm going to put up a couple of cryptos here. Put ETH here. Any tickers y'all want to look at? Hit me with them if you got them. You guys usually have a whole list of things. I mean, let's throw up Apple. Let's throw up some oil. See what oil's looking like. What else, y'all? Anything? The euro dollar. We throw up Microsoft here. My guess is reaction on big tech is going to be the same across the board. Hydrogen. Give me a ticker symbol, Jeremy. So initial move. BE. Bloom. Okay. BLDP. Ballard. Initial move is lower, but relatively muted reaction, if I'm honest, is what it looks like to me. Let's see. Actually, I'm gonna throw up VIXY here. You guys can't really see this chart, so we won't worry about that one. Anything else in particular y'all want to watch? Yeah, relatively muted reaction. I think the big day was yesterday. See, U.S. March Core PCE price index rises 4.6% year over year, estimated 4.5%, previous 4.7%. So 0.1% higher than estimated. 0.1% lower than previous. Pretty flat, pretty in line. Hence why the markets are not really moving this morning. Something gold. Ah, yeah, good call. There's gold for you. Yeah, kind of a nothing burger, huh, guys? Bummer. I mean, not a bummer, but just is what it is, huh? Jeremy, do you feel like you have a decent sense of the strategy tester? One thing that I was going to mention before I got into switching up these tickers, let me just throw something here. And we'll put, I don't know, Google here. If you guys want to watch something else, just hit me up. Let me know. I'm happy to change any of these to something more exciting. Jeremy, one thing to note, multiple time frames. It is not possible to strategy test using multiple time frames. So you can't define an hourly condition and a daily condition at the same and within the same test. Another thing that is not possible that people request quite a bit is the ability to define index conditions in your individual names. So for example, the SPY is trading above XYZ moving average and it's making a new range high. It's taking out a previous range high or something. It's not possible to define that sort of thing. It's not possible to define what's going on with another ticker within your test of any ticker. And those are the two items that I've heard customers ask. Those are the two questions that customers ask about the strategy tester more than any others. Like, those are the two things that I hear customers saying they would like to be able to do that's not possible to do. Whether or not that will be possible in the future, I don't know. One thing that we did recently add, though, I don't know if anybody caught this week. I'm going to switch over real quick, y'all. Hopefully that's okay. I can throw up SPY while we're here. One thing that we did recently add is we added a code editor. Don't know if you guys saw this, but this is for you guys to build custom indicators. This is JavaScript. I don't know if you happen to know JavaScript, but you can now build out custom indicators in JavaScript on the platform. The functionality of this is limited currently to just on chart, but the functionality is going to extend to all the other tools, scanning, strategy testing, the whole nine. Anywhere you can use any built-in indicators in time, you will be able to utilize all of your custom indicators as well. So you can think about that for the future if you are a JavaScript developer and you want to utilize custom indicators. Can you add bots that you create? What do you mean? Can you add bots that you create through code? Give me an example of what you were trying to do. I'm kind of a little confused. Oh. Huh. So you're saying create a bot via JavaScript elsewhere? I don't know. That's an interesting question. I would have to ask. I don't know. But I can ask for you. Yeah, kind of like thinking through this. I'm definitely not a developer myself. I spent a little bit of time the other day playing around with the code editor because it just launched this week. And man, this stuff kind of goes over my head, I have to be honest. I'm going to try and figure it out, at least to some degree, because I know I'm going to get questions about it going forward. So I need to have some sort of understanding. But just thinking about if you can write code for, let's say, multi-time frame code, right? And also conditional SPY is here, QQQ is here. If you can write the code for that and you can create an indicator that says, you know, that's green when SPY's above X and Q's above Y, Q's are above Y, and then you can input that code into the tester, right? And say, this, my indicator, my Q's indicator, my SPY indicator is flashing this signal. Like, that seems like it would be possible. Yeah, and I'm sorry that I'm not more educated on this. Coding is such another world to me, and I wish I knew. I wish that I had been wiser when I was younger and spent a little time with it. Now I try to read this stuff, and it's just very hard to comprehend. I'm kind of actually thinking about taking a little crash course, like an intro to Java course, for the sake of just understanding it a little bit more. Yeah, Michael, on that, on needing an API output for the bot, I'd have to just ask the dev team and see if that's possible, because again, I just don't know. But I can certainly ask. So yeah, Jeremy, do you feel like you kind of understand the functionality? Do you understand what's possible and what's not possible? Again, I don't know if it's going to work for Chris. I just wanted to present it as an option for him. I didn't, when I first suggested to give our strategy tester a try, I didn't realize he was going to have somebody working with him. But good to know that he's got you. Yeah, possible, Michael. Again, that's all kind of foreign to me, but like I say, I'm more than happy to ask. Sounds good, Jeremy. Well, that's good to hear. If you guys still want to hop on a call later on this afternoon, more than happy to do it. And if you're in Boulder, man, we definitely got to kick it. Hit the trail sometime. I haven't seen Chris in a minute. He's been dealing with work stuff and traveling around. But I'm supposed to see him, I think, this weekend. How do you guys know each other? I'm going to do a little shilling here. We're coming up on about 20 minutes. 20 minutes before the hour. So I got to do a little shilling. There's a few of you guys here. If anybody is not yet a TrendSpider user but is interested in becoming one, let me hook y'all up. Got a little discount code. I can give you guys 35% off the plan of your choice. Mutual friends past 10 years. Nice. That's cool. Yeah, Chris was the first guy that I met. I moved to Boulder going on almost 4 years now. But Chris was the first guy that I met when I moved here. He was the only person that I knew in town before I moved here. I didn't actually know him, but we were introduced through a mutual friend. And he was introduced to me as a trader guy in Boulder that I should befriend. And as it turned out, I moved in just up the hill from him at the top of Shanahan Ridge there. So like a couple blocks from his place, which worked out quite nicely. We don't see each other as much as we used to, but we still try and make time. Good dude, that guy. Very smart. Very, very smart. And a very fast hiker, too. He walks so fast. He's always just like, pew. I'm curious, for the other folks in the audience, I know I'm sitting here, me and Jeremy are just chatting. Anybody else who's here, do you guys have any questions about the platform? Anything that you would like for me to go over while you got me? I'm going to be live here for about another 15 minutes. Now, you guys can always, I say this in every single live stream, no matter who is here, no matter how many people are here, you guys are always welcome to reach out to me. My Twitter handle is listed in the bottom bar here, at Krutzky Trades. You're more than welcome to reach out to me on Twitter anytime with any questions that you might have. One of my roles here is to answer your questions. So never be a stranger. My DMs are open. You guys can always reach out to me if you have things that you're curious about, if you're having trouble scripting something, get a lot of questions about just how do I script this or that. I can respond in DMs. I can make you guys little videos. I'm here to help make sure that you guys get the most out of the platform. So do not hesitate to reach out to me. We're going to be live again next week, specifically for the Jerome Powell event on Wednesday. And I'm planning on being live with our lead developer, our head developer, Ruslan. And we're going to do a deep dive into the Price Behavior Explorer that I was showing you guys. This guy. We're going to talk through kind of like what all of these different data filtering tools, how you can use them, what they're telling you. There's a lot here. It's kind of confusing. We understand that. So we're going to have Russ on live with us to give us a little crash course on these tools, what he thinks you need to know. He'll be answering any questions that you guys have. And that'll be on Wednesday of next week. Usually we go live they release the FOMC announcement, and then 30 minutes later, Jerome Powell comes on to speak. So what we'll probably do is we'll probably have Russ on for the announcement, and then we'll do like a little course between the announcement and when he speaks. Once Jerome starts speaking, we'll transition over to just listening to Jerome. I need to discuss it with Russ. I don't know for sure if we're going to be doing it in between the announcement and the speech or just after the speech. Kind of want to do it when the most people are around. But if you'd like to kind of take a deep dive on this tool, specifically with our lead developer who developed it, there'll be a cool opportunity to do that next Wednesday. I believe it's next Wednesday. Let me make sure. I'm telling you guys Wednesday, and I'm actually not certain that it's Wednesday. But I'm almost certain it's Wednesday. Let's see here. Yes, next Wednesday. So that'll start at 1:30 Eastern time. We might even start a little bit sooner than that. Maybe it'll be 1 Eastern. I'm not absolutely certain, but follow me on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at TrendSpider. We'll be promoting it, letting everybody know exactly what time it's happening. Jeremy, I'm glad that you were able to tune in this morning. That's awesome. So no other questions from anybody for real? You guys are just here, just kicking it. Let me go back to SPY. See what's going on. Actually, I'll go back to multi-symbol view here. Yeah, so pretty muted reaction, honestly. The market's not overly enthusiastic about anything. We got a lot of the earnings behind us. You know, we got the big guys, 42% of the S&P, 42% of the weighting of the S&P had earnings this week. Big chunk. Does anybody know what they said on the Amazon earnings call that caused the move lower? What happened there? What do we have next week? I'm just going to take a look real quick because I honestly don't know. Earnings dates within the next 5 days. Let's just take a look and see. We'll go NYSE comp. Actually, no, let's just check the S&P. Just want to see the big guys. Oh, there's a lot. I'm going to filter this out a little bit. So I'm just filtering for the price of the stock. I'm going to say 20 bucks. If you've been here before, you know that these are like my go-tos. Volume greater than 1 million a day. 10. Vertex PFE. Starbucks next week. Looks like on Tuesday. Solar Edge. May 3rd, next Wednesday. Caesars. Looks like I got some old lines drawn. Got Fang on Monday. Diamondback Energy. AMD. AMD on Tuesday. Albemarle on Tuesday. No, Wednesday. I believe we got Apple this next week too. Qualcomm next week. Etsy next week. I'm just checking the NASDAQ 100 here. See if there's anything next week. While we wait. Apple on the 4th. Okay, so Apple's next Thursday. Is that right? Thursday? Yeah, next Thursday. Got it. Monster Energy next week. D-Dog next week. Yeah, so lots on the 4th, or a few things on the 4th. Team. Atlassian. Y'all are a quiet bunch this morning, I gotta say. You guys been quiet all week. Okay, so that's what we got coming up on the earnings side. A couple of big names, AMD, Apple. Again, AMD is on the 2nd. That's Tuesday. Well, if none of y'all have any questions, then I guess I'm going to pop on out of here soon. All right, TH. Awesome, man. I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you for letting me know. That's what I'm here for. So have a great rest of your day, man. Have a nice weekend. Get out there, enjoy nature, and holler if you need me. Most importantly. All right, y'all. Well, Any other questions? Anything you need me to look at? Anything you want to look at before I get on out of here? It's Friday. I got a few things I got to do. Just a reminder, you can always reach out to me. Anytime you have questions, feel free to hit me up at Krutzky Trades on Twitter. You can see my handle there. Give me a follow. Give the TrendSpider account a follow. If you do not already subscribe to this channel, please do so. Would love to have you as subscribers. The more subscribers we get, the more likely I will continue doing these. Is it a red or a green day? Love. I have no idea. Day hasn't even started yet. Yeah, Jeremy, let's talk about this. I'm curious to know what you have in mind. And like I said, you know, if you have like more extensive questions. All right, Robert, man, have a great rest of your day. Always good to see you. Enjoy your weekend. Jeremy, if you have like deeper questions, I won't be able to answer them, but I can absolutely ask them for you. So we can open up a line of communication with our dev team and get some of your more extensive things figured out. I don't know what the timeline is for being able to utilize custom indicators in the strategy tester and in the periphery tools on the platform. Love, my prediction, it's Friday. We've had lots of big moves in the market. My prediction is probably a choppy nothing day. That's my prediction. I think they're gonna rest again. That's my guess. I mean, I don't know. You know, who knows? But that's just my guess. It's the end of the month. It's the last trading day of April. You've got monthly expiry options today. Or you've got, actually, you don't have monthly, you have a weekly. You don't have the monthlies. The monthlies already happened. But you have the weeklies. I don't know. But my guess is we stay in some sort of tight range. My guess is that we do not break out of these little ranges that we've been trading in. Or this tight range that we've kind of been in for the past couple of weeks. I think if we were going to do it, we would have done it already off of one of the big earnings announcements or something. Or maybe all the numbers that came in yesterday, today, GDP, PCE. That's what I think. But we'll see. I could be totally wrong. I don't know. Yeah, so hit me up if you have questions. You can also contact us via the Contact Us button down here in the bottom right-hand corner. These are live people. These are actually living human beings that work at our company, and they are around day in and day out to answer your questions. So you can always reach out to them. Our support team is around all day. Those guys do good work. Yeah, Rabbit, you think so? It's certainly possible. Trading $6.55. Wow. What a mess. And again, we'll be back next week. Like I said, we're going to be live for the FOMC announcement. I plan on doing these live streams again on Tuesday and Thursday morning as well. Just these pre-market preps. So holla if you need me. I'm around. Happy to help you guys. If you're trading today, trade them well. Remember, it's Friday. It's the end of the month. We got a new month coming on Monday of next week. We got FOMC next Wednesday. We got Apple earnings, AMD earnings next week. So another big week ahead. Never a dull moment in the markets. I'm curious to see if sell in May go away ends up being a thing this year, because we are there. I can't believe it's May already. It's just so crazy. All right, y'all. I'm going to jump out of here. It's been a pleasure hanging with you. Jeremy, really nice to meet you. Look forward to chatting with you again here soon. And thank you to everybody who tuned in. Michael, TH, Love Sood, Robert Smith, or Robert Brush, rather. Robert Smith from The Cure. Rabbit. Who else? Alex. Robbie. Yeah, I appreciate y'all being here. It's been a pleasure hanging out, and I will see you on the flip side next week. Have a great weekend. We'll see y'all soon.